Hello, class. I'm actually recording this video a little early, so hope you don't mind. But because when I'm going to publish this is during spring break. But I wanted to make sure you got your uplifting video, even though we're not holding classes. But here's an article, and I saw some on the mainstream news as well. So in case it hit viral, I'll have it out there. It was kind of cool last semester. I did a video on how phenylphedrine was basically worthless versus pseudoephedrine, and I did that article and talked about it, and then it blew up in the news. And this is something I've seen in the news. It might blow up, but we'll find out. But so This company, Valashore, has asked the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, to pull products that have benzyl peroxide. So benzyl peroxide is an acne treatment. I used it when I was younger and had much more facial acne, and I used that quite a bit actually when I was a teenager. And benzyl peroxide. Here's benzyl peroxide right here is the molecule, and so this is organic chemistry. We don't really study organic chemistry, but this ring right here, this is a benzene ring. So you see these rings here. These are benzene rings. They're also known as aromatic compounds. They're called aromatic because they tend to smell very strongly. It's a very stable molecule, and this this group here, well, if it had a hydrogen on it, it would be a carboxylic acid, a carboxyl group, but it doesn't have one. It has instead, it's joined to another oxygen. And when you have two oxygens joined together like this is known as a peroxide. Well, specifically, it's oxygen in a -1 oxidation state as a peroxide. You can have two oxygens joined together in things like ethers. But in this case, because of the electrochemistry, this is known as a peroxide. And a peroxide is something that has a -1 oxidation state. And peroxides in general tend to be very reactive and quite often are explosive. So you got to be careful when working with them. And it's not like well, let me say explosives. It's not something you're not gonna make a really good bomb out of this. So many of the conventional explosives that we use tend to have more nitrates in them. So like TNT is trinitrotoluene and dynamite is nitroglycerin. And you hear the word nitro, that's the has the nitrogen groups in it, and it's not like you can don't go run out and buy a bunch of benzyl peroxide in the hopes of making a bomb. It's not. It's going to be too unstable. Is basically what it is. You with an explosive, you want it to be, you know, not you want it to have a shelf life. Peroxides tend to be very unstable. Even more unstable are something called superoxides, and like they can, if you touch them, they might explode. So that's the issue with this. But the benzyl peroxide molecule, and this is very reactive, and it's reactive and it kills bacteria. I mean, that's the whole idea behind it. It's reactive and it kills bacteria, and but it can go through this pathway. We think can form a benzoyl radical and then a benzene radical. Radical means unshared electron, and radicals are very reactive, and then form benzene. Okay, so what? Why do we care? What's the big deal about benzene? Benzene's a carcinogen, and your body takes benzene, and well, what happens when you get molecules in your body? Your body has nothing to do with it. It tends to go to the liver, or the liver takes care of it, and the liver is either going to oxidize it or reduce it. Usually oxidizes it. So benzene typically oxidizes into phenol, and it puts strain on your liver, so it's hard on your liver, and also these compounds and other things can cause various mutations. They're not mutagens, but they're carcinogens. They can cause cancer. So mutagen is something that mutates DNA. Carcinogen is something that causes cancer. All mutagens actually cause cancer, but not all carcinogens are mutagens. So a little bit of logic puzzle there. So, and that's the reason why we're upset about this, because of benzene there, and benzene has a very strong smell. I don't like the smell of benzene. I like the smell of toluene. Toluene, that smells a lot better. That's it's the cement, the whatever plastic cement glue that tends to have toluene in it. If you've ever smelled, it's a very sweet smell. But anyways, so that's what's going on there with that, and I mean, there's a bit of history with the Food and Drug Administration, and we'll see what happens. I don't know if they're going to ban it or not. I mean, like we'll see what the future has to hold with this. It'll be interesting. So, but I mean, of course, there's some history. The Food and Drug Administration, the United States Food and Drug Administration, is extremely conservative in general when it comes to certain products. The FDA was pretty. One of their greater accomplishments was they refused to approve thalidomide, and that was a morning sickness drug, and thalidomide causes very bad teratogens, is a very bad teratogen. That means birth defects. So that's one of their claim to fames, if you will, in the United States. They're like saying, "See, we're good. We prevented this." And there's a bit of history also with the FDA, there because back before the creation of the FDA, people could pretty much put whatever they wanted in food, and they didn't have to label it. And like there's lots of people that had died or had many people had really bad stomach issues. And we have various things that we have. The FDA can call certain compounds generally recognized as safe. So, and then when that happens, you can put infinite numbers of the compounds into things like food and or cosmetics and that kind of thing. But I mean, even if you can still get a lethal dose of something. I mean, you can get a lethal dose of water. You can get a lethal dose of oxygen. But I mean, you can generally, when you have a product, you can put as much of whatever much water, for instance, as you want in the product, because that's generally recognized safe. Another one is like sucrose, table sugar, or sodium chloride, and many of the other sweeteners, for instance. And also, there's different states have different rules. So you can see, like, California has you can see in the labeling, like this has a compound that California has considered, to be blah 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 blah. That's a California specific law. It's not the federal laws, for instance. So, but that's kind of a legal thing, like I said. But it's interesting. It's interesting to see how this will play out, and because as I'm recording this video, benzyl peroxide has not been banned. Maybe it will be in the future. What's my own personal viewpoint on this? It's probably a small risk. I mean, generally speaking, I mean, like for the thing, I mean, benzene, I wouldn't want to, bathe in the stuff, right? And I mean, besides the fact it smells bad, but I mean, it's not something, I would, if I want to avoid the an exposure to it, I will. But it looks like it's going to be a small amount of that. And I mean, the amount of things that are in carcinogens, and I mean, sunlight is a carcinogen. Okay, so other things, a lot of foods, a lot of natural foods. So cinnamon and nutmeg, for instance, they're carcinogens. Grilled meat is a carcinogen. So, and I love cinnamon, I love nutmeg, I love grilled meat. Especially a lot of nuts, especially peanuts, they have aflatoxins, or from the molds that grow them, they have aflatoxins, which are also carcinogens. So, I mean, there's lots and lots of carcinogens around. Then again, I'm not advocating seeking out deliberately carcinogens, but I mean, this is probably, in my opinion, this is a low impact on someone. I mean, there are much worse things you can do for cancer, or for receiving cancer, versus benzyl peroxide acne medication, facial scrubs. I mean, this is, in my opinion, it's on the low end, but I mean, it's we'll see what happens. I mean, it may be a shelf life thing. Maybe they'll say, hey, if you've had this, for more than a year and maybe toss it. So, and that's a difficult thing though too, especially here in Hawaii, because of we have things that ship over. We import so many of our products, and one of them, like that a lot of people don't realize, is laundry detergent. I mean, oh, that's safe. Don't worry, you're not going to get cancer from laundry detergent. But the shelf life of laundry detergent, it's very likely that many of the features of the laundry detergent have been destroyed by the time of transit from the factory to Hawaii. So, and that is something that really scares companies like Procter and Gamble, because they're with like Tide, and Tide is a wonderful. Tide is a really good detergent, but I mean, number one, can the consumer tell the difference between Tide and like the Walmart brand, and number two, does it work? Because if you make a fresh batch, it works really well. But if you put it in a boat for a couple of weeks and it sits on the shelf for a couple of months, or sits in a warehouse for a couple of months, is it going to work? It's product its usage goes down. And so same thing for this personal care product. It's the benzyl peroxide over time can turn to benzene, but it also looks like the benzene goes through, it just kind of effuses out. So it'll be an interesting thing. I mean, I don't know what'll happen, but still, I think of all the things to be afraid of, this is kind of low on my list. I think clowns and snakes and stingrays are still, higher on the list for me than benzene coming from benzyl peroxide. But everything else, but it's an interesting article, and we'll see if it. I think there's a chance it might go viral, so we'll see. Just trying to be ahead of not my video, not my video. I don't think this is going to go viral, but this concept of the benzyl peroxide being banned might go viral and hit the mainstream media. So we'll see. We'll see. So I hope you're enjoying your spring break. I hope it's been so productive that you are ahead of all your classes, especially chemistry. But if you're not, that's fine too. If you need some time, come on. We're all human, and there's more to life than school and chemistry. I hope you did have some fun. I hope you did have some relaxation. I hope you caught up on those other wonderful things we have to do, like taxes. That's what I have in my mind is taxes. But I hope it's been a wonderful time for you. And I mean, I'm still available via email. So if you need anything, please let me know. If your basic needs or having other mental health issues or academic issues, please let me know what I need to help. I will always be here to help you out. So sorry I'm a little long-winded today, but I hope you're enjoying yourself and you have nice rest of the spring break. So aloha.